Welcome back to Podcast Rockstars, the show that helps business leaders become podcasting legends. I'm your host, Dawn Lidwell, the founder of Lidwell Writing Services, and today I'm discussing some of the things you need to consider when creating a budget to start a podcast.
You're listening to Podcast Rockstars, the show helping business leaders become podcast legends. Now, here's your host, Dawn Lidwell.
Hey there, Rockstars! Today I want to talk about how to set the right budget when starting a podcast. As business owners, we know why it's important to set a budget for virtually everything in our business. And your podcast can be a very valuable tool to have in your marketing toolbox. But when you're just starting out, you may not know exactly what you're getting into. And to have a high-quality show, it takes more than just having good equipment. Starting a podcast is an investment with long-term achievable goals. So you need to have a well-organized plan on how much you are willing to spend. As I'm sure you already know from listening to other podcasts and reading articles featured in various publications, the upfront cost of starting a podcast doesn't cost a fortune. Some basic equipment is obviously needed, such as a good microphone, a pop filter, headphones, and some recording software. But beyond the equipment in your podcast arsenal, there are other investments you should consider to produce a high-quality show, such as a podcast producer, a designer to create your podcast art and social media assets, a voiceover artist, a virtual assistant, and, of course, a show note writer. Shameless plug. All of these service providers' rates vary, and for good reason, so I encourage you to browse what's available and choose the best fit for your podcast. Launching a podcast is a massive project, and like any project, you need a solid team to support you. You could do everything yourself, but for many podcasters, trying to juggle it all eventually becomes too much and often leads to burnout, and we certainly don't want that. So let me ask you, how are you investing in your podcast? Join me in our exclusive Podcast Rockstars Facebook group to connect with me and other podcasters, share your ideas, and ask your most pressing questions. We'll include a link to our Facebook group in our show notes, so head on over to lidwellwriting.com/podcast. We'd love to hear from you, learn from you, and grow with you as avid podcast fans and business owners. See you in the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to Podcast Rockstars, sponsored by Lidwell Writing Services, because a great podcast deserves great show notes. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and leave us a review, and remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Join our exclusive Podcast Rockstars Facebook community to connect with other podcasting legends. In the Facebook community, you can ask your most pressing questions and tell us who you would love to hear on the show. And if you're ready to experience the power of great show notes, contact Dawn at lidwellwriting.com.